that's very, very important. And albeit indirectly, it involves Caitlin Clark.
What if Caitlin Clark's record-breaking stats and gravity-defying three-pointers aren't the WNBA's biggest story right now? What if the damage she has been concealing from the public is the true tale taking place in the shadows? One that was severely administered during a game that made everyone in attendance feel sick to their stomachs? For the Indiana Fever, the game against the New York Liberty wasn't simply another defeat. It was the time when the leagues. Everyone could perceive the unstated conflict with its newest superstar. And now, because of one of the largest voices in sports media, Stephen A. Smith, the disturbing reality of what's actually happening has been verified, and supporters have every right to be really concerned. The league has been utterly silent, yet the evidence on the court is unavoidable. Single instance of uncontrollably violent behavior started off a series of events that now poses a threat to one of sports history's most promising careers. Although the whistle blew, the actual infraction was what the league fervently hopes you will forget what the cameras failed to adequately catch. The play was more than basic defense. Conveyed a message. Against the New York Liberty, Caitlin Clark made a basket. The electricity in the air was electrifying, but it curdled into a horrified collective gasp. Stewart, Brianna, one of the league's titans and a previous MVP, he was more than just a tight defender. Her forceful, startling foul sent Clark reeling. Faltering. It was not the type of interaction that occurs during a typical game. This was not like the others. It was aggressive, intentional, and it had a personal edge. There was more than just annoyance on Clark's face. It was excruciating pain for a moment. She struggled to keep her balance while clutching her side and twisting her ankle awkwardly. Equilibrium. Everyone in the arena and those watching from home held their breath for a moment, fearing the worst. This was more than a welcome to the league moment. It seemed like a deliberate attack, a tangible declaration from the new phenomenon to the old guard. And even as the game progressed, everyone who witnessed it was left with that image in their memories. Was the flashpoint, the one event that made it difficult to dismiss the rumors of a conspiracy. However, that one vicious blow was only the start of a far deeper tale. The official story was, she was okay, of course. Ever the competitor, Caitlin Clark ignored it and moved to the free throw line, and carried on with the game. The box score will tell you that. However, the details frequently reveal the reality. In the interim between the plays, vigilant viewers saw that something was wrong. Tiny hesitancy in her initial step, a faint frown as she landed following a jump shot, and a new rigidity in her motion that wasn't present prior to the collision. These were the classic indicators that a player was overcoming an injury and trying to hide the discomfort, any vulnerability to the predators that are around her. The buzz was getting louder behind the scenes. According to insiders, while it was a persistent, excruciating injury rather than a devastating, season-ending one, the type that exhausts a player, impacts their explosiveness and leaves them open to much worse. She was overcoming her agony by playing. However, every defensive stop and hard cut was risky. Terrifying reality was generated by this invisible aftermath. The biggest star in the league was compromised, nursing while playing with a bullseye on her back. An injury that was meant to remain undiscovered. And what followed would demonstrate that this was more than a one-time occurrence. It was the first shot of a full-scale conflict. The Liberty game's vicious foul wasn't an isolated incident. It was just the most well-known illustration of a troubling trend that has been present throughout the season. It's impossible to unsee after you've seen it. You may find the infamous moment that Kennedy Carter delivered by going back to the game versus the Chicago Sky. A cheap shot that had no basketball value was a blindside hip check away from the ball. It was an obvious act of violence, an act intended to frighten and hurt. Additionally, players like Angel Reese are known for their unrelenting brutality, whose every encounter with Clark appears to be tinged with animosity. These are not isolated occurrences of strong defense. Together, they provide a horrifying image of a league-wide targeted campaign. Every squad seemed to have received an unwritten message. Engage Caitlin Clark in physical contact. Keep her from being at ease. Make her experience every cut, scream, and drive to the basket. This concerted aggressive campaign surpasses rookie hazing. Feels extremely unsafe, intimate, and spiteful. The new golden goose of the league. Game after game, the player who was solely responsible for its rise in popularity was being pursued on the court. And as this terrible trend became evident, one of the most influential voices in sports media took in to reveal a shocking revelation that the WNBA was unable to ignore. The basketball controversy lasted for weeks. Circles. Was this the typical welcome to the pros treatment, or was Caitlin Clark the target? Then, Stephen A. Smith, a guy whose voice has the power to completely alter the sports world's narrative, appeared on national television and put an end to the argument. He explicitly stated that Clark was receiving unfair treatment, not simply hinted at it. He said in a furious, emotional rant that Clark's situation was a stupid shame and that the players were acting maliciously, not just physically. He revealed the barely concealed jealousy from seasoned athletes, claiming that they appeared to dislike the attention and support Clark was getting. The confirmation of Stephen A. was a game-changer. He was more than simply a social media fan. He has sources and is a media titan. And legitimacy. He expressed the feelings of millions of fans who believed that the WNBA was failing to safeguard its most prized asset. He successfully accused the league, the players, and the officials of fostering a hostile environment to fester, one in which their greatest player was being purposefully pursued on the floor. His remarks went beyond simple commentary. They served as an indictment. He gave voice to the increasing concern that this was no longer just about basketball. It concerned a deliberate attempt to undermine a generational talent, and his shocking declaration compelled everyone to pose an extremely awkward query. Why was this let to occur? The response to such query could be even more evil than the actual fouls. After Stephen A. Smith criticized the league, attention turned to the actual. The referees are complicit in this risky practice. A fresh compilation of missed calls is released with each game. Goes viral against Clark on her jump shoots. Hard smacks to the arm go unnoticed. Aggressive physical examinations while she runs off screens are not penalized. Fans and commentators have begun to propose a terrifying conspiracy hypothesis since it has become so obvious. The referees are purposefully not blowing their whistles. Is it a league directive? To toughen her up by letting them play? Or is it something more personal, a subconscious bias from officials who belong to the old guard and might be offended by her celebrity status? The outcome is the same regardless of the cause. The officials are giving the rest of the league a clear message by not calling these blatant fouls. With Caitlin Clark, excessive aggression is acceptable. This deficiency in defense results in a vicious cycle. Players get even more aggressive when they realize that the officials will not intervene. The fouls become more severe. The likelihood of a serious injury increases as the number of inexpensive shots increases. It's an entire institutional failure. Clark is left to fend for herself because the very individuals responsible for guaranteeing players' safety are ignoring the situation against what seems to be a league-wide offensive. This is a failure of duty that goes beyond poor officiating, jeopardizes Clark's entire career. Additionally, considering the financial stakes, the league's passivity becomes not only careless but utterly perplexing. Let's be brutally honest. The greatest thing is Caitlin Clark to occur to the WNBA in many years. Perhaps never. She is a talking, walking stimulus package for a league that has had difficulty for mainstream applicability. Record-breaking TV ratings, sold-out venues, charter flights, and soaring retail sales. It's all her fault. She is the entire business model for the league's future expansion, not simply a player. Therefore, a serious injury to her would be an economic setback for the Indiana Fever as well. Disaster for the WNBA as a whole. The momentum would screech to a stop. The new admirers she attracted would vanish. The media would stop paying attention. This is the reason why the on-court violence is so astounding. However, rumors in the locker room indicate that professional envy is a strong and damaging feeling. For months, there have been rumors that many seasoned players believe Clark's quick ascent was unjustified. They believe the media attention she receives is demeaning to the women who founded the league and that she hasn't paid her dues. Delivering a harsh foul on Clark is viewed as a badge of pride in the poisonous on-court mentality that results from this animosity. A strategy to correct the novice. It's a self-destructive and narrow-minded way of thinking and an effort to make one player humble. They are endangering the league's overall financial stability as well as that of its members. In essence, they don't like who is moving into the master suite, so they are attempting to set their own home on fire. This confluence of emotional jealousy, careless officiating, and physical targeting is generating a generational talent with a ticking clock. This tragic tale has previously occurred in sports. Transcendentally talented phenoms, such as NBA players Grant Hill and Derrick Rose, saw their careers irrevocably changed by wounds received from constant physical assault on the court. Their bodies just collapsed under the ongoing penalty each time a cheap shot is delivered to Caitlin Clark.